Give me a break.
Crew. Luck.
Crew.
My God, I can't believe that just happened. All right. It was getting good, too.
Well, we'll just start there this time.
Yeah, I made a conversation where no one...
Start good.
We'll just start
Good,
there,
baby.
and we'll start with going, and that's basically the TCG stuff. What else do we got? You're like, wait, did I miss something? Where's the first part of this?
Like Spaceballs 3, the search for Spaceballs 2.
Yeah, we could do that one. It'd be great. Dude, nobody wants to play me right now. Come on, people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new weekly podcast called Team Unconventional. We're a bunch of gamers that like to talk about games and everything else that interests us. We've got JT.
Hey there.
The Duke himself, who's back. Welcome back.
Thank you. I've missed you, my peasants. I'm so happy that you're out there. All, however many of you there are.
And
Last week.
and we got the creepy shadow himself, Tyler.
The game's all here, y'all. So excited.
The gang is all here. So this is officially take two. It's like to the viewers at home.
What was that voice?
Can we start over again?
No.
JT just cursed.
No.
JT just cursed.
I can take that out in post. Don't worry about that. So we're doing take two. It's weird. We're about like an hour's in to the previous recording, and then I blue screened of death on my PC and lost everything. So we're gonna do it a second time. We're gonna hash over a little bit of what we were talking about before the crash, which was Mike's experience with the Snorlax block deck. He had a lot of supporters, and it seems like it would be a deck that would be incredibly long. And yeah, go ahead and start from there.
And that is my experience with TCG Live. So,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, there's quite a few supporters in there. It's a stall deck, you're trying to deck out your opponent, so it takes a while. And a lot of times they can help you out with, playing Professor's Research and those kind of things. But with Snorlax in the active spot, their active Pokemon can't retreat unless they use a switch or some sort of switching element. You got Pidgeot V in there because he can just his abilities he shuffles back into the deck, so you almost never deck out unless he's in your prize cards. But that's why you have Peonia, which allows you to select 3 of your prize cards, and then you have to put 3 of the cards in your hand back into your prize pool. But I mean, it's a fun deck. I do enjoy it a lot. As I said, I did make myself a variant of that, which doesn't do quite as well as the original, but I still have fun playing it. I can't even remember what we did in the last cast right now. On take one.
It was so long ago. I totally
understand.
We had
What kind of supporters you run in that deck?
You want to know?
Like,
you want to know?
Well, he wasn't here.
I know. I'm just picking up Pokemon, the TCG.
It runs supporters like Silene, which allows you to flip 2 coins, and for each head you get to put a card from your discard pile back on top of your deck. It plays Avery, which is kind of nice because I think it draws you 3 cards, but it also, if say your opponent has a full bench, they have to discard 2 of their Pokemon. They have to go down to a 3-person bench. Plays Erica's Invitation, which is kind of nice because your opponent reveals their hand, and if you put a basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench, it allows you to do that. And if you do that, that Pokemon gets switched to the active spot. It runs Penny, which allows you to pick up your Pokemon. So, say Snorlax is up there with a Bravery Charm, which gives him an extra 50 HP, and he's got 200, and somebody smacks him for 150. You play a Penny, you pick him back up, all the damage goes away. You throw another Snorlax up into the active spot, providing you have one on your bench. You throw that Bravery Charm on that one. So that's kind of nice. It runs by order. Runs Sydney, which allows you to the opponent has to reveal their hand, and you can discard up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon tool cards, special energy, or stadium cards. It plays GM Como, which discard a special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. So if you're playing like against Mew VMAX, who plays that lovely special, throw GM Carmel in there, and you can get rid of all of those.
So a deck like that, is it trying to? I mean, it's obviously trying to deck out, but could you try to make them attack you so much that they run out of energy cards that they can use, or?
It runs a Mimikyu, which is immune to attacks from EXs and Vs. So if you run up against a deck like that, you can use him because he has 70 HP. Jurious Cape in here, which adds 50 XP to, or 100 HP to basic Pokemon, I believe. So you can throw it on him. He's got 170 now, or you can throw it on Snorlax and get 250, which is quite a bit of HP for a single prize Pokemon.
That's nice.
It runs Arven, which allows you to search your deck for, I want to say 1 tool and 1 item card. So you can get, you play him, you can grab a switching card and a Bravery Charm, or you can grab any tool and any item card with him. So, and then a Team Yell Cheer, which allows you to shuffle, I want to say, any combination up to 3 of support cards, except obviously for Team Yell. So you can't put Team Yell Cheer right in there too from your discard pile. So it runs, it's got a Stew and Heavy Ball, a Pokemon out of your prize card if you need. Plays 1 VIP Battle Pass. It does play 2 Ionos, and that one, to me, seems like it might be not great in this deck, simply because if you're trying to deck your opponent, play an Iono, and they have a 15-card hand, and they're down to 3 cards, then they put all 15 of those cards in and draw however many up to how many ever prize cards have. So if they've taken 2, if you're down, if they've taken 4 prize cards, they're only drawing 2 cards. You just put a whole bunch of cards back into their deck, which it might not matter. I've never played the Iono while playing this deck, simply because I don't like the idea of, if I'm trying to deck them out.
You see exactly the reason you don't like it.
Yeah, that's why I don't
like that.
But I mean, this deck, what did it win? It did win, I want to say, a regional in I think it was Gdansk, but I won't swear to it. I can find out here real quick though. The wonderful Zapdos TCG, who I get a lot of my decks from. He's he's great. I think he just won. I think he just took the Belgium regional. I don't swear either, but I could have swore he won something. Yeah, it took first place at the Gdansk regionals.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you said in the chat that it just won a regional in Europe, so I'm assuming that would be the Poland one.
Yeah, and then he just won something in Belgium, so I don't, with Zapdos himself, and he's not going to tell you what deck he used, because then people can go and use his deck against. But what did he just? It was somewhere in here. He just said he won. He was at the Gdansk regionals, which was kind of cool. I watched a little bit of that, but I enjoy his stuff, so I watch it.
Heck yeah.
I learn.
So that's cool. I haven't watched any of the TCG in the Poland regional. I can't say that word where it's from. I always screw it up somehow, so I just umbrella it as much as I possibly can. We're gonna pivot into something different here.
Oh, I'm not gonna talk about my anger.
I mean, you could what?
We're pivoting.
We're pivoting.
Yeah.
Pivot.
We're
Pivot.
pidgeotting.
We're gonna stay on the TCG thing. JT brought up in the chat about talking about TCG Terras. Do you want to highlight what you're talking about there?
Expand on what the heck that is.
Yes.
Yeah,
sure.
tell me.
So every generation of Pokemon, the TCG has a new and exciting gimmick. For the Sword and Shield era, it was the VMAX Pokemon that had, triple prize, but they had over 300 health pretty routinely. For the for the Scarlet and Violet era, it seems to be this Terastalize EX Pokemon that can't be when it's in its Terra form, it can't be damaged while it's on the bench, and then it's always a typing that is different than its attacking colors, which is super interesting because it gives things like Hoopa, who is a fighting Terastalize but requires dark energy, a real niche in Roaring Moon, specifically because you now have a different coverage element on your guys. But as a whole, like, what are your opinions so far? You've played now 3 different generations of Pokemon TCG, Duke.
I was unaware, and about them not being able to be damaged while they're on the bench. Could have sworn I've taken damage to some of my guys on the bench, but I won't. I could be wrong.
Well, EX Pokemon can, but the Terastalized EX Pokemon have that ability.
Like I thought that I could have sworn my Charizard EX, which is Terastalized, had taken damage while it's on the bench, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's kind of fun because you don't expect to have to use dark energy with Charizard, but in this Terastalized form, you do. You have to. It's kind of fun. But I think it's interesting.
And who are some of the guys that you'd like to see in a different color? Because right now we have Electric Mewtwo is probably one of the cooler thematic ones.
That is cool. Maybe Genesect in a different color.
You are a huge Genesect fan.
Poison Vaporeon.
That would be cool. But maybe like, I don't know, Fire Genesect or something. That'd be kind of cool. Or Psychic Genesect. I don't know. Maybe a Mew in, like, I don't know, a water Mew.
That would be cool.
I'd like to see Verizon actually get a little bit more love than he's gotten, because I like Verizon too. And I think that comes from the fact that the first deck that JT and I built was Genesect Verizon when we played the Plasma Blast era. The Plasma era.
Which, funny story, had a block Snorlax in it as well. So this is a strategy that is from 10 years ago that has reemerged.
I'm in full circle.
That's dope.
Not too many people know. Busted wide open.
So there's not a whole lot of Terras out there now, right? There's the Charizard, there's
the competitive zeitgeist, no, but in the game itself there are quite a few.
Yeah, you have things like I don't know. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't think you consider like the Roaring Moon's Terra.
No, they are not Terra. The initial one was Water Gyarados and Fire Arcanine, but it shifted. There are over 20. I believe there's something like 39 or 36 altogether right now. But in the competitive zeitgeist, it's really just Charizard, who still takes fire energy, but is a dark typing, which is very cool. And then Hoopa in the occasional Roaring Moon sets. But it's really underutilized right now, it seems, competitively. But that doesn't mean that it'll continue to be that way, because every set comes out with 2 to 4 new ones.
Yeah. And plus, everyone's still kind of using the EXV V-Star combo, so it'll probably be like that for quite a while. All right, let's go ahead and pitch you out over to the Spotlight of Arcanine. Arcanine, wow. For VGC, did you want to talk about like Hisuian Arcanine or the Kanto one or both?
Well, certainly when we do these spotlights, it should be all forms. So like if we were to do Urshifu, it should definitely be encompassing of both types of Urshifu. Arcanine's really interesting in that it had such a long VGC competitive life, and now as the Hisuian, it has swept the last 5 regional level play tournaments in a row in North America. So like it's it's gone through an interesting time, but it's also been a cool, TCG Pokemon as one of the original heavy hitting stage 1 fire types. It's probably one of the cuter dog Pokemon. There's a lot to talk about with Arcanine. I'm sure Matt or
He's
Mike
one of my
has
favorites.
Listen, I don't have it open right now because I'm in the middle of a TCG live match, but
Well, no, we could just talk about like our VGC experiences. Then we don't need some background of a Pokemon. Like I don't have fan
did
mail.
you know? Did you know Arcanine is a dog?
I didn't know that.
Did
Wait,
you know
all
that
this
he's
time?
a fire type? Did you know he's a fire type?
You know he's a wolf.
Did you know he's got a big fluffy mane?
So
I'm
Tyler,
sorry, I
what,
failed you listeners. I'm sorry.
Tyler, what was your question?
Oh, I was just saying, Arcanine's one of my favorite Pokemon from the first gen. I've liked him all the way. And what was that? Arceus, that brought me all the way. Seeing him as an old man, that brought me back to Pokemon, man. I was like, dang, they're getting old timey with these Pokemon. I gotta try this. Brought me back.
It is pretty
Yeah, the
dope.
new forms, the form Pokemon are definitely geared towards people like Tyler who were absent for so long, and they take the Kanto Pokemon and reimagine them. Brings a lot of people back.
Yeah, brought me back
Arcanine
to my childhood.
Arcanine's, yeah,
I like it.
nostalgia.
Total
I like the
nostalgia.
shiny Hisuian one. The shiny Hisuian one I like a lot.
I think I got you a shiny No, I don't have a shiny Hisuian one. I got a regular one.
Yeah, I got myself a shiny Hisuian one in there, and then I think you did find a shiny one. Then I already had it, so
Yes,
You were-
that's
you were
my
like-
golden dog.
fine. You're like,
I want one.
You want one?
Tyler wants one.
Yeah.
I'll see if
I
I can
do.
find one. Dude, I like to go out
I-
and get their candies, so I'll just send Bori out there to
shiny
do all
hit.
that.
He just likes to kill things, people.
I do.
You're not wrong with that.
No, I don't. But it's the only time I get to do TM hunting is literally like going out there and just sending Bori out there to do my dirty bidding. So in terms of VGC, how often do you guys see Hisuian Arcanine, and do you like him as a part of your team?
A better player should go first because I stink.
Yeah, you see him all the time. He's very heavily represented. Intimidated is such a important piece of the
It
VGC
really
games.
is.
So for right now, it's really just Arcanine and Landorus that are the heavily intimidate users. So quite a bit. I play with him a lot because I play Tyranitar in competitive.
Mhm.
But he's got five regional championships under his belt. He's making a claim for best VGC Generation 9 guy, along with like Fluttermane and Iron Hands and these other high level Pokemon.
One of the best intimidators right now.
Backs.
Yeah. I think he is pretty common. He's on a lot of teams. I run Wheezing, so nobody really runs him with Ability Shield. They do mostly like choice items. So like I run him with Ability Shield. I have one that I am putting on my team now. Because Intimidate is really nice. So
It is really nice.
I like him. Yeah, it really is. Especially when nobody else can do anything. Starting Wheezing, Ability Shield, Arcanine, except for he's not that strong, and that kind of sucks. Like
He is not.
not without
Absolutely
a choice
is
item.
not.
He's not the same. So like that kind of sucks. But I'm hoping. Who's the new Intimidator? Incineroar.
Yeah.
It is. It's not confirmed,
yeah.
but it's like that's the hope.
The consensus.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
Yeah,
that the new
it's confirmed.
Intimidator is.
I mean,
gonna
you say
take
it's
the spot.
confirmed, and yet we don't have a complete list of everyone that's supposed to come out. So
For sure, but the Pokemon Company did that tweet where it was all the starters are in DLC. So like that one guy is for sure in. Whether or not it'll be Regulation F is certainly another question. But look forward to this Christmas.
Christmas time.
comes once a
Me and
year,
mine.
and it's like, oh god.
what it's like?
God, not again.
I apologize.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think about Arcanine, Matt?
I kind of, it's a hot take. Okay, I'm gonna shove it out there. He's not the best intimidator. I like Gyarados better.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like Gyarados better. I think when you have Arcanine who gets KO'd by anyone that mainly Landorus, because he is, I don't want to say 2 times weak. He's 2 times at least weak to ground, but fighting really wrecks his face. Like anyone, if you have Arcanine out there in front of an Iron Hands, you're not living for anything. Same thing with Urshifu, both Single Spark and Rapid Strike. It's really, really hard for him to live anything. Most of the time Ogerpon knocks him out, so it's like even with the -1 you're still getting KOs. And this is based off the experience that I have with my own Arcanine. My Arcanine is built bulkier, and it's not meant to be like a physical attacker. And I completely understand that. He has Will-O-Wisp, he has Citrus Berry, he's got stuff to be able to survive. But at the same time, Drain Punch comes in and he's knocked out. I get hit with like any type of Rapid Strike Urshifu, he ain't gonna live against that, so I don't hold that against him too much. But if it's like an Aqua Jet, he still gets knocked out. Like, bro, you shouldn't be knocked out by like a 40 hit move, even if you're 4 times weak.
Yeah, that's.
But like Gyarados knocks him out like really, really easily. Like one Waterfall will do it. Gastrodon has been able to knock him out. It's like either I ran into like an entire month of Pokemon that just easily knock out my Arcanine. Even Pokemon like that are off types like Rillaboom is able to knock him out with Grassy Surge on. And yes, I do know that it does a 30% boost, but he's still getting knocked out by stuff that he's resistant to. So I'm like, I don't know if he's like the Pokemon to use, but I know that you could do so much better with, again, Gyarados. Or if you have access to Landorus, but I like Gyarados more. So there's my hot take.
I like Thunderwave.
He's neutral to Grassy Glide, by the way. He does not resist Grassy Glide, unfortunately.
Because
Arcanine.
Yeah, because
yeah.
Rock is weak against grass, but fire is not. So he's neutral. It still knocks him out, though.
Exactly.
Still knocks him out, though.
Not in my experience, but your experience may vary. I run the banded one, and I am looking at a damage calc that he lives it pretty comfortably. But the wood hammer, which frankly I would not like, if you're talking in the grassy terrain without counting the intimidate, because he somehow was able to finesse you and get out like cleanly.
First, I just want to interrupt you for just a second. Listeners, when you guys are like doing a damage calculating, if you're using Poke Esports, it automatically calcs for intimidate. Just put that out there.
And by the way, listeners, your results may vary.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
You're funny. Thanks, man.
I just wanted to say that because a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that especially. And then it's like I found out and it has been touted like everyone knew. So I'm telling you, I didn't know that, but most calcs will automatically calc for intimidate on there.
If you have an intimidator, on one of the sides. So it is important to always be looking at the whole calculator if you use one of these tools. They're so intricate though that it's really easy to miss something or mess something up, frankly.
Yeah. So I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just throw that out there.
It's a great point.
What are you meant to?
I would say setting aside like what if who is best based on results or who is best based on like what the meta is. I would say that I wouldn't hold against anybody if you can't live through like a set of Urshifu. Urshifu is one of our premier attackers that if you do fall short and you're not like built to be a Urshifu stopper, I don't stop the presses with that because they're very powerful Pokemon, the 2 Urshifus. But yeah, Gyarados, especially if you know going into like a 9-round event that Landorus and Arcanine are like everywhere, Gyarados is a really strong answer because Rock Slide and Rock Tomb are, they're not doing too much damage from the Landorus, and most of the time you're able to deal with an Arcanine before it can do these heavy damaging rock moves to your Gyarados.
Plus, you're not weak against ground, and you also get to withstand Heat Ran, which I'm assuming is going to be at the Portland Regional.
Yeah, if you sit down for 9 rounds, you're probably going to see a couple Heat Ran if you continue to win
You
out.
will if you play me.
Uh, definitely a Pokemon that maybe it doesn't show up every time on the top 12, but it tends to show up on the day 2 top 12s, or like the teams that are making the top 8 or top 4s typically have a lot of Heat Ran representation.
Oh,
So it's important to know that.
Speaking of top 12s, that just reminded me in the Poland Regional this last weekend, Iron Hands was number 1 day 2. Fluttermane was like
Wow.
number 3 in the Pokemon ranking in the top teams on day 2. I thought that was really,
It brings
really
up
cool.
a really fun talking point, which is like how you define the best Pokemon in VGC. Is it the number of times it's represented in the field, taking it over the majority over people? Is it like the Pokemon that wins the most, like takes first place the most of number 1? Is it like day 2's top representation, the things that are doing well in the field? Where do you guys feel like when we talk about the best Pokemon? What kind of criteria do you kind of factor into that question?
So I'll start first because I think I have a lot to share on
He's
it.
got a lot to share.
So when I look at top Pokemon used, I primarily go off of like the usage. I don't really go off the notion of how many times that they've won, because otherwise we would see like Gastrodon and Amoonguss up there quite a bit, and they're not. That's the weird thing. So I go off of usages, and that's about it to give it a even play field. Just so that Pokemon that don't get used often, they're still really good. Don't get me wrong there, because Amoonguss and Gastrodon are perfect Pokemon to have, and so is like Cresselia. But there's a reason why people don't bring them in, and there's a reason why people don't use that do bring them in, but don't use them as often. They do end up winning quite a bit, but it all really varies around the team that you build. So in terms of like team building, and that's why I think that going off of just high usage, or at least percentages of how many Pokemon are used in this many teams, is like the better option, just because you could have like a Trick Room team. Well, okay. Ursaluna, both Blood Moon and regular will be used. Cresselia, Torkoal will be used. And then you could go something like like the opposite of that. So you could like bring in Fluttermane in case if you need to outspeed if you're not able to get Trick Room up, or like Landorus to be able to use Choice Specs or Scarf, sorry, and like do other things besides just going to hard Trick Room, or like varies between the two. So that's why I base it off of just usage and not like particular team
Hang on.
builds.
What event did Gastrodon win? Like Among Us, I think, has won several events now in this generation, but which one did Gastrodon win?
That one.
Hasn't won one in Scarlet and Violet, but it's won plenty in Sword and Shield. It's also won a couple events in Worlds, I think. Like, you wouldn't want to give away a Pokemon for free with a code if you didn't win something. And they've given away Gastrodon quite a bit.
For sure, in previous generations. But like,
yeah,
right now, like that's the question is like when you judge what the Pokemon is, and when you threw out Gastrodon, I thought maybe I had missed an event that he won.
No, but like same thing, right? Como won an event, but it wasn't due to anything special that he could do. He pretty much copies Hisui and Gudra. Like, I'm just gonna Iron Defense and Body Press you. Like, other Pokemon do
But
that.
The same merit, Arcanine has won like 6 events, even though there are other guys that might intimidate or do what he does. And I think like Among Us winning several events is another one where maybe that is in consideration. But
Right.
I could vibe with that. So like when you consider the best Pokemon, you consider like the first day's one. So right now it's either Iron Hands or Fluttermane so far for Gen 9 for you.
I think so. Like, and I think that's the most fairest way to do it, because Arcanine, as you pointed out, have won quite a bit of events, but so has Landorus. If you're not using Arcanine, Landorus is like your second best pick, and he's been used far more often than Arcanine has, because he's better. But that's the reason why it's like, okay, we can either account for everything that's happened since the beginning of Pokemon VGC and go, okay, well, all of these Pokemon have
That's
won.
a whole different conversation.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
why
very.
I'm saying like I think we should only base it off of what Pokemon are used the most to be like the Pokemon that are brought more. So it's like, okay, this is the list of people that brought in those Pokemon and they trust those Pokemon to do well in any type of competition. Unless we want to bring in and that's why I don't really count the champions, because of the fact of, even though that they are champions of something, they were there to do what? To like most of the time to fill a role or to add to a current strategy that they had. Like Riley Factura bringing in like this almost the same 6 every time means that this is the 6 that he trusts, and this is the 6 that he has counters for, because a lot of people will use the same Pokemon over and over and over again, myself included. But in terms of, and I'm hoping this makes sense, but in terms of trying to figure out who the best ones are, I only base it off of how many people bring in the Pokemon, because then that whole other conversation has to come into play, which I think muddles up everything that we're trying to reach to, if that makes sense.
Well, to build off of that, just like with sports, you really should only we should only be talking about this generation, because like new Pokemon are definitely differently viable. Like Rock and Fire, for instance, was never going to do anything at a high level because of its poor weakness chart. But once you can change the typing, now Arcanine, who happens to be Rock Fire and still have all of those weaknesses, like a Heatran, they can change out of that once per game. Whereas in like the Diamond and Pearl area, Gastrodon, unless you have a guy who is hard grass, you weren't gonna like super affect Gastrodon ever. But now that we have in this generation where anybody could be anything, a guy like Gastrodon, I think this is why he is not appearing on those top charts or winning anything, because of like his niche was so unique to his time. And if you want to go into like the best of all time, definitely the longevity of Landorus over almost any other Intimidator, bar like Incineroar. But if we're talking just this gen, I'm cool with your criteria of the day ones, the day one field. What what are you thinking, Tyler, when we talk the best Pokemon of a generation or a regulation? Where does your mind go for your criteria?
Oh man, as far as criteria go, obviously how well they perform, that's very big. The more you are on winning teams, like when you win a regional, I look at you and I'm like, well, what did you do that got you there first? And then like best Pokemon ever, I'm looking at base stat totals, I'm looking at, who is played. I mean, like I'm in the analytics, man. I'm looking at like how many times Landorus was used on the winning guy's team. He knows that. I use Landorus 80% of my games because he's one of the best intimidators. Like, but that's what, that's how come I like watching, day 2 top 8, because those guys are running like the guys that they run. And they do have variations, but like they're very specific for something, and so yeah, their performance, their real stats, and then like how much their Pokemon trainer like was carried by them, how important they were to their team, like that. And Landorus is one of those guys, man. He's on all these winning teams, and everybody got him, and he's got a great typing and terror time, and like he's stuck around.
Yeah.
Easy. And if you look cool, you're cooler. You're better if you're cool. Like Hatterini, not so cool. He kind of looked like like messing with that. But
you leave Hatterini alone.
I will not. One of my first terror raid catches, and I was like, I got this level 75 Hatterini now.
Now what?
Exactly. I did it. Like, yeah, you're not that cool. I was like, hey.
I would say a big part of my like what makes you the best is your uniqueness. which is in the conversation of like best of all time, I will always lean towards Among Us because redirect, auto sleep, and the haze damaging move on the healing switch guy is like so unique and so potent that it always is a factor if you're playing at a high level or at the ranked battle ladder. But I'd probably lean the most with Matt, where uh, where it's about your day one representation is the lion's share of what makes the best. So I'm probably in the same camp as Matt as the best overall Pokemon is probably either Fluttermane or Iron Hands. But when I talk about like the best Intimidator, I think it's such a close rate, an underrated close race right now because not only is Arcanine fairly close percentage wise, maybe not in the ranking of top 12, but the actual percentage. But then he's also winning all of these events. But Landorus being such a hard check to him, I think makes it such a fun conversation. I'm really gonna miss it in Regulation F when we get these new Intimidators added into the mix.
It won't be over. They'll come out with new items, right? Like they'll keep making the game a little bit bigger so that you can still drag along your favorite Pokemon. I'm bringing Weezing, boy. Let's go. Come on, man. Put your hat on. Come on. I'm rocking a
go.
Galarian Weezing one day. Something.
Don't bring in
Maybe new items.
I like the hat.
Maybe new TMs.
I'm wearing a top hat. I start with Galarian Weezing every game this time. That's me. That's who I am. I got problem. Yep. I don't play to win, Matt. I play to have fun.
That's all that matters.
Thank you, Mike, for seeing me. I appreciate
I'm here for you,
that.
man. I'm here for you.
Fine.
What about you, Duke? What are some of the criteria that come to your mind when I ask you like who's the best Pokemon of?
The best Pokemon?
Yeah.
I think that's subjective. Obviously, you made that clear. The best Pokemon to me is Genesect. I love Genesect. He's
Always
pretty.
sits number one.
Always pretty. Very
This
pretty.
is why this is the most popular intellectual property of all time because there's so many different criteria and they're all correct. Prettiness factor, man, that's big.
I think he looks cool. He looks like a bug with a giant cannon on his back. I mean, that's kind of cool.
I think that's why JT fell in love with Blastoise.
Blastoise is awesome too.
No. JT fell in love with Blastoise because the two homies that he knew picked Venusaur and picked Charizard and picked Jolteon and picked Vaporeon. So he was like, I want a complete deck.
What homies are those? What homies are those?
I want a complete Pokédex, so I'll take Blastoise and Flareon, and I'll learn to love them. They'll be awesome.
But you haven't told me
I'll
what
identify
homies
with
those
those people. Oh, just some childhood friends.
I
One of
gotta
them
know,
does a
man.
podcast
Congrats,
these
baby.
days. Has a pretty good YouTube channel. The other one lays low and plays his games. Not much into Pokemon these days though. Two
Shout out.
real good homies. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
I feel called out.
Yeah, that's all. It's about completing the Pokédex because that's what the games were in 1998. That's what they are in
Absolutely.
2023. It's about completing that dex, getting all those pixels. Especially now that like you get the raid charm and the shiny charm and the catching charm, like they really incentivize still catching all of them.
Well, you
Yes.
gotta catch them all, man.
This is the
Tagline.
entire
Exciting
base
time.
of the game.
I'll miss that tagline.
Gotta catch them all?
Yeah, it hasn't been on since Generation 3.
Oh,
Look on
yeah.
Any Pokemon fun
Yeah.
fact, any Pokemon memorabilia. That was the first Dexit was Ruby and Sapphire.
Exit. I like that.
Now you know I'm old, listener. I remember Dexit the first time.
Old head.
Kinda like
You
Brexit.
old head.
Not quite.
Yeah, old head. Yeah, that's what we called it in the internet was Dexit.
Yeah, because Sword and Shield was the very first one that they didn't have the national decks, and they were not gonna bring out older generation Pokemon. They claimed, or at least Pokemon International claimed, that they didn't have the I think the models, and it's like, but you've had
There was
like
a couple different excuses used.
but like everyone was able to like quickly point it out. It's like, but you have them because of this gen and this gen, and like you have them. It's not like you have to build them from scratch. But
Game on the Pokemon.
at the
What we
same
know
time,
now is that it was them spending more time on Generation 9, which is the Scarlet and Violets. Clearly, this whole changing any type to any type was a lot extra coding.
Yeah.
But at the time, the community was really mad. The really funny part is Sword and Shield was not the first time that they didn't have the national decks. It was actually Ruby and Sapphire, and that's what really came about in the aftermath. Was that we quietly endured it for a long time because it was 2 or 3 years until they came out with like ways to catch the other Pokemon from Red and Blue. But Ruby and Sapphire, with its move to the Game Boy Advance, didn't allow you to cross over. So like it was this weird thing, and I got sucked up in it twice. I'm that old. I fell for it not once but twice. But an excellent sub question is, Matt, was it worth it to get Scarlet and Violet? Was it worth our suffering in Sword and Shield with our trees?
yeah.
Thank
I
you.
feel so too.
Easy answer. Yeah.
Thank you, Game Freak.
Yeah. No.
Game Freaky Rock.
I will even though I love the game, I still have to give Game Freak crap about like not having it optimized as it should, especially for the price that it was, but I still like it. I'm hoping that the next game that they come out, I don't know if we're going to do a redo of another title, but I'm hoping that it continues on with the growth of like the 3D modeling that they have now, and they pursue changes and trying to be well adaptable. I don't want Game Freak or Pokemon to fall into the same rut as other AAA companies have, where they just release a game because they have to make investors happy, instead of completing a game and then throwing it out there and then it being buggy. So I'm hoping that they learn from this one and to not do it again, because a lot of people eventually will stop throwing their wallets at stuff, myself included. If I don't feel confident in your ability to do quality assurance, I'm not going to trust you to handle my money. So that's just how it goes.
I will never.
Well, we
stop
are
throwing
due
my money at
for
things.
we're due for Black and White as the remakes of the generation. So returning to the Unova region, which is where the Blueberry Academy is located.
Mhm.
I don't know if they're plotting for a DLC or like a whole new game, but we are due for a remake within the next like 2 years.
Okay. And which, if it was like how it was in like Diamond and Pearl for like the Switch, it was fine. I had no problem with it at all. So if they do with like like, I don't really care for the chibi versions, but if they do a remake like that did for those, that's fine. But if it's like a new generation, how they did with Gen 9, like just want to make sure that the game works. Because I really haven't had
funny.
But
It's funny that you say that, because have you completed the Chibi Diamond and Pearl remakes yet?
no.
I sense a little frustration.
No, I'm just lazy.
No,
That's
it's
all.
like he became honestly a full-time PokeTuber, and you can't play old games like that when you're doing like VGC and stuff. So like I get it, but it's funny you bring up that you didn't have any problem when like you didn't complete it.
Right. Well, like
they were great though, man. I loved them.
yeah, like I'm just too lazy. I haven't ported over like a level 100 Pokemon to swap through like the Pokemon League. I literally didn't do what I usually do on that game that I do in any other game, which is I'm gonna go out, catch them all, yada yada yada. It's like this is a title that I've already played through before, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna catch the 6 Pokemon. I'm gonna level them up, and then I'm just gonna beat the game. I don't care about catching people. I just want to pass through it, especially after they gave us some rare mentionables, right? Like if you didn't have, Mew, you could get Mew on that game. If you didn't have Shaman, you can get Shaman on that game. There were events that I needed to get on to complete at a fast time, or get to towns really, really fast. So that was my entire goal, was to be able to accept a particular set of Pokemon that I didn't have access to. And now that I do, I don't like the urgency to finish the game wasn't there. And then it's like, oh, I'll just pick this up again, and got all the way up to Cynthia with the team that I've had, and just haven't Done it.
She's a toughie. She's a real toughie.
Yeah, I also haven't used my Master Ball on that game, and that was where I was going to use it on Arceus because I had to. Oh, that was the another holdup I had. I hadn't beat Legends of Arceus yet, and I couldn't get access to Arceus in Shining Pearl without beating Legends Arceus because I couldn't get Arceus at that time. So now that I've completed it, I can actually go back in there and get Mike an Arceus if he wants one.
I'll take one.
It's like, if you want it shiny, then I will shiny hunt that sucker, but otherwise it's just going to be caught in a Master Ball and given to you.
Love him to be shiny, but
Like 5 years to catch him shiny.
Yeah, I don't
do that.
I don't think it's 5 years. It's just a lot of resetting.
Oh, you still haven't beat Cynthia, my man. So I'm talking about you. Like, you got other
Oh,
stuff to
yeah.
do. You can't just sit there shop resetting all day.
Of course I can. I just won't get my team done
can.
for season 13 or Portland Regional. Or
Yeah, right? You just
Sweet.
put off some other way more important
Yes.
thing.
I'm so happy I've destroyed you.
Mike's over there
Anchor.
like climbing the TCG live ladder. I'm just over here like, oh, just get a shiny Arceus. I don't even know how it's gonna be shiny. It looks cool.
Welcome to my last month. I was playing that dang Game Boy game, man. Getting ribbons.
Ribbons.
All the ribbons.
We're gonna go ahead and
You
pitch
did
out
it, though.
into our
Totally worth it.
next
You did
topic.
it though. Totally worth it.
Pidgeot.
We're going to talk about pre-DLC speculations. If you guys haven't seen the new video for the DLC for it's a Indigo Disc. There was a content creator that I recently came across that had gotten to do like I think a live demo of the game where they were able to play for like 45 minutes of the new DLCs and stuff. The information that we have right now looks like it's mostly double battles. The trainers on that island do care about abilities and items, so it's kind of like a VGC heaven if you're into that, or very complex battling system if you're not into that. So it's going to be really, really awesome to see. Lots of new Pokemon, including the starters, what JT was saying earlier, that is going to be released. So let's speculate of what else is going to be added in the new DLC. I think a Battle Tower is going to be coming in.
Yeah, Battle Tower is one of the things that's missing on the base game that they've been putting in the last several games. They have it all the way even to the Let's Go games. That's the thought. It's already been confirmed that there's an Elite Four by Pokemon. The company itself has said that there's going to be an Elite Four, so we're hopeful that it's a more effective way to earn resources than the Ace Trainer tournament.
Mm-hmm.
There is allegedly some new TMs, and we can always hope that there's new items. But the big thing that still nobody knows about is that 19th Terra type. Still no word. I don't know if the 45-minute video got a hold of the 19th Terra type, but I don't know anything about it still.
I don't think so. The creator that I posted in our chat mainly focused on like cosmetics and like the smaller stuff, like visually looking at the world as a whole. And then I think she did mention that there was some story stuff, but she wasn't going to like spoil anything, and that in the music as well. I still speculate that the 19th Terra type is typeless, where you aren't weakness to anything, but you're not strong enough either. So it's kind of like that one checkmate Pokemon that you could use on your team that could just be based on stat totals and just withstand a lot of those
not
attacks.
not having any resistances would be tough.
It's kind of like being a normal type Pokemon, but you're not weak to fighting.
Yeah, and we see how often that's ran as the Terra type. It's basically just for the extreme speed bonus.
Or Hyper Voice.
Oh yeah, on the older Saloonies. Yeah, you're right.
I wouldn't say old.
See
like
that quite
it's
a bit on the ladder.
Oh no, never mind.
Well, he's from a distant past.
No, Blood Moon.
Yeah, he's from a distant past.
Oh really?
I mean, in the lore, I suppose, of the game, they both are. They're ancient Pokemon. That's why you only get one Ursaluna Blood Moon in the for DLC.
Yeah. But yes, I think that you just become a typeless Pokemon, or maybe it allows you to pick a type that you want, but at the same time you can do that anyway. So I'm hoping that if that does become the case, that it takes an item away, so you kind of become like an ogre pawn in some aspects, just to kind of make it fair. Because then, what can you give up to become typeless if that is the case? And that's
What about if you can change your type into any type?
well, you can do that now.
Nah, but like in a match, your Terra type is a mystery, but you can only have one guy with a mystery Terra type, and then you show them what it is by choosing it in a battle.
Oh, mid fight, that'd be dope.
That'd be crazy, right?
The terror type is this: you go through a roulette wheel and it becomes that type.
Not to
That'd be tight.
totally idioted it, but expanding force is returning as a TM. That's been confirmed.
Expanding force.
The expanding force, for those who don't know, if you have the
Psychic
psychic
terrain.
terrain active, it hits both targets and is a base 140 before stab or the terrain boost or any of that. It's one of the reasons why Armarouge has been such a like standout Generation 9 Pokemon, to the extent that he has been. Is that he's one of the few Pokemon that learn expanding force, and I think he's the only psychic type who learns it. But as a TM,
He's not even psychic.
just like Scald. Armarouge is.
He's not. He's fire ghost.
Fight.
Nah, that's Ceruledge. You got it backwards, my friend.
I thought they were both the same type.
They are not.
Fight.
Somebody punch somebody. I'm getting bored.
Yeah, even if like a Pokemon like Espeon is added expanding force, it adds a pretty big wrinkle.
Oh, you're right. He is psychic.
That's
Ah.
yeah.
Take
For sure.
that.
It happens. They look so similar. But having expanding force on somebody that's not just the slow, water weak Cerulet or Armarouge is pretty impressive. Breaking Swipe is also another attack, along with Scorching Sands that are getting PM'd. So there's pretty impressive, and there's some brand new moves.
That's gonna be dope. Oh, yeah. I don't know if this is gonna fit in the speculation part of our podcast, but do you think Lapras is gonna see more play?
It did so well in the 8th generation because of access to Aura Veil in an attack.
But I thought, well, yeah, but I just mean like it would be the stronger ice type that's special overall, because it's ice water and you can get water absorb, which then means you can do what Ogerpon essentially does with Lapras, so you ignore Urshifu and other like water type damage that could come in. But you also get a way stronger Ice Beam to deal with Landorus's and possibly Rillabooms if they're not assault vested.
Yeah, I mean, certainly being super affected by so many things as Lapras is a problem. Like, for instance, it's super affected by grass and fighting, which are pretty common, especially when you talk about like priority things. If it were to be given help, follow me, that would certainly give it the same niche as the Ogerpon has.
Yeah.
But not being able to be critically hit is nice. But it's not. Its base stat totals are not super great. Its HP is now even in the middle to high, rather than like in generations past where it's one of the bulkier Pokemon that can exist, with like Iron Hands and Heatran and all these other high HP Pokemon. I think is going to also limit it. But it had such a great time, I think, in Generation 8 because Ice was fairly rare as a stab, and you got access to such a rare double screening on an attack.
Yeah.
I know I definitely abused that strategy as hard as I could to get to my only like 3 Master Ball rankings.
I still have our fight, by the way. I still have that
Nice.
footage.
Lapras is one of the Pokemon that are being reintroduced that's been confirmed, as I understand it.
Yes.
So, time will tell. Certainly, the reintroduction of all the starters, which is one of the few things that I'm really sure about because the Pokemon Company talked about it, is like really scary because we get another Pixelate user, we get another Fake Out Intimidate comboer, and then we get Chlorophyll Venusaur. So the one hopes that Regulation F doesn't allow Miraidon or Koraidon in yet, because right now the sun is only so good, but if you give that strategy Venusaur and a legendary sun like a weather setter, I think it becomes a real issue. Not just for like matchup wise, but sitting down in 9 rounds and expecting to see that combination multiple times kind of issue.
And I could see that, but as someone that ran Groudon and Venusaur in season or in Gen 8, I can assure you that although the strategy is good, it's seen by a mile away. It's basic Sun Chlorophyll team. Yeah, I think a lot of
certainly.
teams nowadays know how to get through Lilligant and Torkoal. Lilligant H, especially when you've got like the physical variant of Lilligant, does the exact same thing, except you have 2 physical attacks instead of special attacks.
And the fighting typing.
Yeah. So,
But
in my
Giving like poison is pretty underused, right? Like you'd agree with that.
yeah, but like unless you bring in like Wheezing, and then like I think Wheezing right now is the best poison type in the game. We can make an argument of maybe using like some of the legendary trio, like Monkey Dory, Okidoki, and Bezendipity, but right now they don't really have a spot outside of like Okidoki. Like he's pretty good, but at the same time, it's like, do you want to use Guard Dog or do you want to use Toxic Chain?
But giving a Sun team a stab, double sped poison attacker in an era where like fairy terrestrialization is so common, I think is something that's really gonna boost them. If it's just Torkoal, but those legendary Pokemon and their stats to back up the Sun, and then you give photosynthesis, and now you give them this really strong poison guy, I think is gonna be like popular. Maybe not like unbeatable, but certainly very popular.
Yeah, and I could see it becoming popular, but I think also people are going to realize that maybe that's not the best way to go about it. Because again, like, yeah, you have like Chlorophyll Venusaur that has, poison stab, but his speed is really, really slow. So even with Scarf, he's not going to be like outspeeding a lot of folks unless you do Tailwind. So I think
So that's true. 290 is below like Flutterman and Iron Bundle, but it is above like
290.
everybody that's using that's yeah, if you use the jolly or timid nature and you put 252 in the speed, his speed is 145, which makes it 290 in the actual game. Which is not it's not the highest thing, but it's certainly higher than like Ogerpon's gonna get. And that's another guy that you're threatening to super effect and potentially knock out. Like his special attack is I kind of would like to see some in-game stuff because 100 is not the greatest, but it's a wrinkle. Like you don't have to lead Venusaur every game, and if you're given Koraidon and you're playing Fluttermane, having him off the back is that seems really popularly strong because we all know how great and popular Sleep Powder is.
Yeah, but it's not accurate.
It's not. I hate that move so much.
But I love it because I use it all the time, and when it worked, and it always landed until it didn't.
It won a regional. Like it won actually multiple regionals. Sleep Powder is legit. And going from Lilligant to the 525 base stat total Venusaur, who has this really interesting niche because like you gotta think that Fairy is gonna continue to be popular with things like Incineroar and Hitmontop entering the fray and Urshifu really not going anywhere. So to be able to have somebody who could like super affect them without using your Terra Blast is kind of appealing.
Can I say something? I just used Iono in the Snorlax decks.
No, you can't. Shh. Hush up, Mike.
Sorry. It happened. Sorry.
How did it work out though? Was it any good?
Pretty good. I'm a changed man. I'm a believer now.
Break it down a little bit. Tell me how it worked.
Like he was saying earlier, guys, this is the take 2 because I blue screened earlier. He mentioned that he hated Iono in the deck list for the Snorlax block deck, and now he's a changed man.
Love it.
After 20 minutes.
It was probably like an hour because some of these matches like take too long.
It was days.
The only other big one that I'd like to speculate on is probably Metagross.
Oh yeah, I think
We
he's
don't
gonna be
have-
everywhere.
Yeah, we don't have a high premium of psychic physical or physical steel that actually want to use their steel attacks. Like most of our steel physical guys, namely King Gambit, prefer to just use dark moves.
Yeah.
So having a guy that leans more on his steel, can't be intimidated. It's interesting.
Oh, I mean, he would kind of have to compete with Golden Go because he likes to go against the steel typing too, but definitely not anyone physical.
Yeah, it's funny because like Metagross really hasn't been the same since Steel lost its dark resistance. Having the weakness to Steel weakness to Dark is really tough. I
Yeah,
think right now.
but with Terras, you don't have to really worry about that too much.
Certainly, and we've seen guys like Hydreigon really make their name on it, but he just hasn't been competitively viably quite the same since the X and Y change. He was one of probably the hardest hit, but man, Meteor Mash and Bullet Punch is quite the combination.
Yeah, I mean, Scizor is still used in today's play with the Bullet Punch, and he takes advantage of that. Depending on their strategy with Orthworm.
Oh, yeah, you occasionally see a Scizor here or there on like the ladder.
Yeah. Gigaton like last season was showing up quite a bit on my side. That Gigaton hammer.
On your ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a Pokemon because it has Fake Out that I feel like a lot of people try and use. Because it can bypass Inner Focus.
It does not have Inner Focus.
No. Mold Breaker breaks Inner Focus, so you can Fake Out an Inner Focus Pokemon. Still weak though. Still physically just too weak.
No,
That's what Mold Breaker does?
it makes it so that
it stops abilities.
It stops abilities that make it so that it like your Heatran has Flash Fire. Ogerpon can hit him with being Fire Ogerpon because of Mold Breaker. I think the move can still hit the Pokemon, like a Fake Out into from Tickaton into anyone, like let's say Dragonite, but I don't think they get flinched because of the fact of Inner Focus.
So the writing on Mold Breaker is actually this Pokemon's moves are not affected by foes' abilities during battle. So this is how it actually does flinch out a Inner Focus Pokemon.
Right, but Inner Focus doesn't allow you to get, like, it still hits, but you don't get the Fake Out. Like, you don't get the flinch.
Okay.
I flinch every time.
But that's
Who
all
has
I'm
Inner
saying.
Focus and Fake Out?
So Tickaton has Fake Out, and then like Umbreon has Inner Focus, Dragonite has Inner Focus,
Mold Breaker and Fake Out. Flat.
Tickaton.
Oh, Tinkerton. Oh, okay. He's got Mold Breaker.
Yeah, I know. I've ran into a couple of Pokemon with when I ran Iron Hands and would Fake Out like Dragonite, and his move would still go through because he had Inner Focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what
But
sources you're
Iron
using,
Hands,
but like
Iron Hands doesn't have Mold Breaker though.
correct. And
Yeah, so that's the
Cerebi
difference.
has on
That's the
Mold
difference
Breaker.
between
It on Mold Breaker's ability on Cerebi, it actually lists that it's not the Pokemon is ignored Inner Focus along with all of the other like Dry Skins and Flash Fires.
Right.
But you
However,
have to have
right,
you
but
have to have Mold
at the
Breaker.
same vein, right? Because you and I have had conversations like this before. Even though Cerebi said something, we can't go gospel on it because it could be wrong, and it has been wrong multiple times.
You better go gospel on it.
Right. So what source are you using? Because
My source is
I've seen it
physical
go that
because it's
way.
on the series of me hitting a Pokemon with Fake Out. 'Cause
Without
I
Mold
would
Breaker.
Fake Out without Mold Breaker. I haven't tried it with Tickaton, but I've hit a Pokemon and it, because of Inner Focus, does not get the effect. I haven't tried it on Tickaton. If you want me to try it with Tickaton, I will go try it with Tickaton. I have no problem with that.
Certainly, feel free.
Tinky.
It feels very reminiscent of the Armor Ceruledge thing, but like definitely try it out.
Okay, give me a
Bottom
minute.
line is that Tinkaton is way too weak to spend too much time thinking about, because even if that actually works, it's such a low niche.
Proves a
and
point. Just proves a point.
its damage output is so low.
Let me.
Mold Breaker Fake Out, y'all. How does it work?
How does this work?
It does.
know in the comments.
stuff.
Everybody needs to go home after you've listened to this podcast and dunk on whoever was wrong. Whoever was wrong about Moldbreaker,
Be
fake
brutal.
out, fake out. I mean, you know, all the listeners, have some class and respect. All 4 or 5 of you
Please
have
do.
some class and respect,
Yeah,
y'all.
have some respect. We all make mistakes.
But dunk because everybody needs to score points. Okay. Uh,
Okay,
sorry
I'm
to
gonna-
pitch you out into letting people trash talk. I like trolls.
No, it's totally fine with that. So while I'm doing the testing here, and I'll probably add this into the actual video so people can see it.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go ahead and talk about the first giveaway. That was one thing you brought up in the chat. What do you mean by the first giveaway?
Yeah.
What are you giving me?
What am I in the pool for, baby?
Yeah, did anyone like? I assume nobody commented because I also was not told we had any fan mail.
No,
Correct.
have
We
no
do
fan mail.
not have any fan mail. I've not heard anything.
Yeah, no comments.
See what happened there? See what happened?
Hey, these come out fast, man. You know, like by the time we were recording this, I don't even think the last episode's been uploaded.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It has,
we
yeah.
previewed.
No,
Okay,
it has.
so it has been uploaded.
It has to.
I think it uploads every Saturday, right?
Saturday, like supposed to be noon, but I fell asleep early last night, so we didn't. I
dare
didn't
you.
finish it. But I did finish it during the cast, so we're good there.
Right. So like, there's been no time for people to listen and comment yet.
Correct.
Like, and we just brought that up last episode.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So
So what is the giveaway though?
I kind of put it out to the listener to like chime in. We gave some options. Like we could definitely do, like babies in the cool balls, cool
Shiny baby
abilities. Like,
Urshifu? That's a
I
thing,
don't-
right?
No.
no,
That's in the
Urshifu,
new
I think
DLC?
is shiny locked.
In the new DLC, I thought I just heard somebody on some video talk about shiny baby Urshifu as possible as on the thing.
It's a rumor. It's certainly
Okay.
a rumor.
If it's real, I want that to be a gift because I want to win.
I feel like anything that we give away, like the 4 of us aren't gonna get any of that.
What?
That's just how you feel, bro. That's just how you feel. I'm a dedicated
yeah,
weekly listener, bro. I'm a dedicated. If I'm not in the pool, I'm not listening.
Where's your comment? Comment on the last video.
Hey,
if you're
the
a weekly
video
listener,
just
where's your
dropped.
comment?
The video just dropped. I'm only 30 minutes through, bro. I'm only 30 minutes through.
He's like, I was there, but I'm listening to it again.
Hey, I was listening at 11, bro. I was on it. I was like, "Ooh, this got posted. Oh, just go jump right on my YouTube, man."
We had said in the last episode that if we do like a legendary, we would only do 1, but if we did like someone like a Sinestia, we'd be able to do significantly more. So like there's that option. Like there's a lot of things we can do with this giveaway, but has anybody thought about it? Because I just kind of put out in the listeners on the last one.
Yeah, all I can tell you is I wasn't here for the last one, so I don't know what you may or may not have done.
I like shiny Pokemon, rare shiny Pokemon, cool
We know
Pokeballs.
We know what you like.
I'm talking about I'm talking about me. I'm a listener. He
no.
said I'm asking the listeners. Here I am. Y'all have me on the cast. Hi.
No, sir.
That's what the try.
Nah,
It was definitely worth a try. I like
We don't yes and here. We know why here.
That's right. That's right. There's no yes ands unless your name is JT.
If you do too many yes ands, we might confront you about it.
Ooh.
That's unfortunate.
how unfortunate.
Yeah, if we do shiny, that's gonna be a lot of that work is gonna be on Matt and Mike. If we do like cool balls, a lot of that work's gonna be on me. If we do legends, almost all that work's gonna be on me. You know, if we do like VGC Pokemon, that's something that the 2 of us, me and Matt, could contribute on. So it's kind of like a little bit up in the air. There's some options, like some brainstorming, but we definitely want to give something to the listener if they are out there listening and commenting and engaging.
Oh, come on. Why won't you let me?
Uh-oh.
Why do you keep saying stuff like
He's like, dude.
Nobody likes the yes and.
that?
Come on, let me just battle.
Let me just battle.
I just do what I want.
Hold up.
Stop it.
Wait, I have a Tinkaton. I'm just gonna like one of you get on the online and we'll battle each other. Solve this for real, for real.
Never.
Yeah, why not? I was trying to do it on Showdown, but for some reason Showdown's not showing up.
Yeah, let's just do it on the cart. I definitely have. I know you have an inner focus. Somebody.
Oh,
I
yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
have a Tinkaton.
Absolutely. Oh, that's why I wasn't working. I was still looking at Venusaur. Duh. Well,
Really? Do it on the chat. Do it.
all right.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have some dead air for this test
Nah,
session
no
right
dead
now.
air.
No.
No dead air. Don't worry about that. We're right here.
We
Don't
got you.
Speak for yourself, fool. Speak for yourself.
Like yourself.
Dead air. What kind of crap is that?
Who's playing Unite? Who? Since y'all doing that, who plays Unite? Anyone, Mike? Why
I
don't you
love
play
Unite.
Unite, man?
I haven't played Unite in forever.
Not since
Come on, man. I need
the
some
cast
wins.
episode.
Yeah, it's
On
just-
Unite, yeah, that
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
special episode.
Yeah.
Are you any good, Mike?
No.
Really?
I'm aight.
Well, come on. Play some matches with me, man.
I don't wanna.
He's playing TCG
But I'm-
Live.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, speaking of which, I need a starter deck that'll get me some wins, bro.
A starter deck that
Sorry
would
to go back on that. We'll side quest. We'll side quest that. Don't let me forget, because I am in concussion protocol. So.
Okay.
Because
You wanna do
I
singles,
got VGC
Yeah, we can do
live
singles.
on my iPad, and I'm getting the gang together,
Listener,
and
my link code is always 867-5309. That's what we're gonna use for this battle with Matt.
one.
No.
I figured out we don't have to put the one anymore.
Yeah.
I wish he wouldn't. I'll bleep that.
Ah, how dare you?
8679.
I'd be honored to get my link battles and my link trades disrupted by our faithful listeners.
I like that. I did just have random people up in there. What y'all doing in here?
That's what John and I did for like when we did a Sword and Shield. We literally logged in and put 111111, and we traveled with people who were there.
Yeah.
No restrictions. Who cares?
Yeah, we're just gonna do fake out versus. I assume you have like an Umbreon or a Dragonite.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm throwing out this Tinkaton, and we're gonna settle it live on the cast.
Yeah, live on the cast, baby.
And listener, if I'm wrong, I've served you poorly, and I apologize.
Yep, and let him know. I will. I'm about to. Can I comment on Spotify, bro? I will.
Yes, you
Live,
can.
I'll blow
live
you
on
up.
Spotify.
I will blow you up, homie.
Just put it like a mishmash of people. I don't give a crap. Here, I'll
His
make this.
visual, it should be the.
I'll make this more professional. Check this out. Share my screen.
Yeah.
Oh, so these guys can see too.
Yeah. There you
Yeah. Watching. Yes. This is how life should be.
go.
You got a problem? Man, just boot up all your internet and solve it. Come on.
Yeah, what's up? Pull up, homie.
Pull up, homie. Won't you pull up on me? Cash me outside. Oh, I love being old, man.
Okay, whatever.
That is a good schoolboy.
Breaks the mold. Oh, you're right.
Right. Oh, there it went. Look,
Yep.
he said you were right.
Yep. you're
Dang,
right.
there it went. Got him.
There it went. So that is the
I
only
wonder-
reason why you would opt for a Tinkaton over a Rillaboom or a Iron Hands, in my opinion. But frankly, even with that niche, it is too weak of a Pokemon for me to really consider if I'm going to sit down for 9 rounds of play, unless like you really felt like the hammer was so good that you could like overcome priority with your Rillaboom or the insane sustainability that Iron Hands offers.
Yeah. He really is good.
But you know, Tinkaton is not like useless. Has a niche in the game that is viable, and just like everybody is everybody's favorite Pokemon, Tinkaton brand new was one of
One of.
Oh, his mic's doing his thing again.
Oh, nice. Good thing nobody cares.
Let's see. You know,
my fault.
of course it is.
Tinkaton was one Pokemon through the playthrough of Gen 9. Even though Breloom literally killed and got me every gym badge, Tinkaton looked so cool that I thought for sure it could overcome its low stat total because of things like Mold Breaker. But unfortunately, after like Regulation C, when we got access to the real good fake out user Iron Hands, Tinkaton's niche and usefulness really shrunk. And now it's just like a very thin niche, like because Dragonites are pretty popular still. Matt's Umbreon is a great example of a Pokemon that can really wall a team if the trainer is unprepared for it. So having a fake out answer is nice, but Tinkaton is weak to both ground and fire, which is not where you love to
That's
be.
a lot of guys.
Yeah, doesn't resist water. It does resist grass, but honestly, anybody who's grass is likely packing one of these alternate moves that does a lot of damage to a Tinkaton. Really, the only one that's not the case with is like a water ogre pond, and even then, you're staring down in a water ogre pond.
Yeah.
So it's all about the context of what is allowed in, because like in Regulation A and B, Tinkaton was a very welcomed and like useful part of the community, while not like winning everything. Still a really good Pokemon. So we'll miss you, Tinkaton. We love your fake out.
I miss you
I
so
love your
much.
fake out, homie.
So let's go ahead and pitch you out into our last topic here. We're running a little later
Yeah,
than we
Pretty good.
originally planned.
Certainly.
Only because of the fact that of my disconnections from before. So our last, like, I don't really have anything for a giveaway per se. I'll just throw that out there. I think that I would love to do giveaways later on, but we should really have like a meeting to maybe finalize that before we officially announce anything. But as for our final topic, 3 of us will be competing in the Portland Regional. How are you guys faring in preparing for that event coming up in literally a month?
Well, fortunately, we still have 2 weeks until the newest Pokemon are like able to be caught, and another like 2 until we know what's allowed in. But I have probably my first team that I'm willing to go compete for some CP with, so I'll be doing that today. It's been a long time to get a Tyranitar from Soul Silver into the Switch games, and it took me like really about a week and a half to get back into the swing of preparing and playing doubles online against other people. So it's going slowly over here, but fortunately we still have plenty of time.
Absolutely. How about you, Tyler?
I am finally able to EV. I'm about to start EV training my Heatran. So my team is just about ready to try out. I mean, I'm messing around with too many things to be serious about anything, but I got to get some matches in. So now that it's a new season, I might have a chance. Go ahead.
My fault. I actually forgot to mention I have like 20 games in, and I'm in like the master rank or whatever. But I feel just as slowed down as Ty. How about you, Matt?
I haven't started.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all basically on the same page.
Pretty much. For those who don't know, last week, just a little after Thanksgiving, I had lost access to recording my footage. So like today's like impromptu battle wouldn't have been possible because I, for some reason, could not get access to my capture card or my webcam. So for a week, I wasn't able to really record anything that was Pokemon related on the Switch. I have not figured out what the problem was, and the only way that I can get it to unlock and actually work properly was to do a system restore, which then, at the time of recording a video, because I did it on the 27th, letting people know that that was a problem, and when I recorded the update, which is the 30th, I had put it back on November 26th and got access to that, and then wasn't able to sit down to record anything because I still had to do testing. Even today, like the blue screen tells me that I'm not done testing, so I haven't been able to really prep as much as I would love to. Hopefully that blue thing doesn't come up again, and I can use the Scantron to figure out what was the issue. But
you guys have any idea, like even a Pokemon or a core that you might want to be using for Portland?
Oh
be-
yeah, I'll go first because I just thought of my team.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Heatran, Iron Hands, Wheezing. There's another guy I'm using. I'm probably going back to Arcanine because I need an Intimidator very badly.
Use Gyarados.
Hey, don't tempt me. I'm thinking about it. And I have someone else because there's 6 guys on a team. I just can't remember who it is.
I'm probably gonna
The team
walk.
that you had helped you with was Roaring Moon and Flutterman.
Yeah, Roaring Moon. Okay, thanks.
I'm probably gonna walk in with the 6 that I have.
Oh,
Probably-
like Regulation F's not gonna add anybody or change anybody?
I'm really thinking about changing out Ogerpon, either Gyarados or go back to Arcanine because that Intimidate is really, really good.
Mhm.
And but I also have to think of other things too, because if I do keep Ogerpon in my team, maybe changing it to where it's a little bit more bulkier to have the follow me be able to take more hits and be like, yeah, guys, you can't knock me out so easily, and then running with like Horn Leech to get back its HP and stuff like that. But it's like, if I do that, and I have no problem doing that, it would give me more usage, or at least more abilities to use, like Nasty Plot or Sword Stance on like my Urshifu or Golden Go. Because right now it doesn't give me that opportunity. I just have to guess if my opponent is going to switch out and not do anything. So that's why I'm thinking I'm going to take the 6 that I have, because Golden Go right now is it's a super popular Pokemon and answers a lot of checks to a lot of people. Even with Terra Dragon, it doesn't get really affected by a lot that Heatran can do. It does run into the problems of maybe Fluttermane, but if I get Fluttermane off the field first, I don't have to worry about that. So my checkmate, it could be anti checkmated by having my own Fluttermane or just having Golden Go out there without Terra or something else.
Well,
so
if you don't Terra, you definitely run the risk of getting Shadow Balled. So like the definitely as a Golden Go player, the move is always to remove Fluttermane ASAP. Because it definitely feels like if you do, more often than not, that Golden Go can like run the rest of the table.
Absolutely. And if right now it seems that I can survive most Shadow Balls, especially with people not using specs too often. I'll probably see more specs in like the tournament.
Now that you said it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like now that I've said it, I'll probably see more specs in like Portland Regional. But lately I've been seeing a lot of booster energy. So
yeah, having that protect when you have boost energy always feels stronger. Like, but you always see it like the stream or whatever. The guy is running specs or he's doing something odd.
Yeah, it's kind of like an insta read almost. And yeah, while I do get like hit really hard with like Shadow Ball and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna throw my Golden Go in front of a Fluttermane unless I have to. And a lot of the times I'm outspeeding that Fluttermane, and having Sucker Punch really, really helps with that. Even Terra Fairied, I still tend to one-shot it with Qian Pao. So if I see like a Fluttermane on the opposite table, I don't tend to bring out my Golden Go first. Or if I think that they're going to bring out something else as a starter and just have Flutter in the back, then I'll have Golden Go up front. But usually he's in the back waiting for that Fluttermane to come out so that he can come out later and kind of mess things up. So that's it's kind of where my team is at. I might change Ogerpon quite a bit so that I can have uses for the Nasty Plots and the Sword Stances, or I could remove them completely and get back some moves that I don't usually carry.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty strong chance that you and I actually both walk in with Tornadus and Golden Go. They're both really strong. Even though Whimsicott's coming, I feel like the defense that you can have with a Tornadus in comparison to what you get with a Whimsicott is still making Tornadus the better Tailwind user. Just probably means that you're more likely to play like Mental Herb or Terrasilize Dark in case you sit down in your 9 rounds and the other guy plays Whimsicott. Is like it seems like for the field, like it's pretty easy to survive, to calculate and survive like the Surging Strike Urshifu and not have to give up all of your special attack or any of your speed. Whereas the Whimsicott, similar attacks, I feel like they're, even if you play like Focus Sash or something really heavily that you're getting down to 1 all the time. But I won't play Whimsicott because I feel like Focus Sash is the best item, and I play the Sand, so you can't be Grass and Fairy in Tyranitar's team and run Focus Sash.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true.
The other thing too, like I think Whimsicott is going to see a lot more play when it does come
There you
out.
go.
I do not know if it's going to be replaced by. I don't know if it's going to replace Tornadus, and that's only because of the fact of, one, we need to figure out what its new base stat total is going to be. We need to also figure out what moves it's going to have access to, because Gen 8 and Gen 9 are going to be different.
Okay, so you're thinking they're gonna revamp its stats. That's pretty rare that happens, but it definitely happened this gen with like 2 or 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like Regieleki, right? And Gen 8 had like the best ability, so you didn't use Regidraco. Now it's the opposite. Regidraco has, what Transistor should have been, and Transistor is what it is today because it was nerfed. So
Yeah, but that's a little different than the base stat manipulation. Like that one is super rare. The ability is definitely change. Like that's pretty common. But those stats, man, it's happened twice in this changeover. Like Cresselia happened too, but I don't remember who else.
I think it happened more than twice. I think it's happened quite a bit that not everyone realizes, because some base stat totals, like, I think have changed for either the better or the worse depending on the culprits. At no point last season did I ever think, or not season, but last gen, did I think Komao was going to do anything, and now it's all over the place. That's a difference to me. Like, I think
certainly, but they didn't change his base stat totals.
I think they did.
Ooh, fight.
Okay,
Right.
well, and Mike is on one tonight on that.
It's like a fight. But I the only reason why I think that they did is because of the fact that, even with the current strat for, Iron Defense, Body Press, I think he had access to both of those last gen, but
he had ×4 to Fairy. That's a big problem. Or to Fairy. That's alleviated. That he just like Hydreigon. That negative typing was alleviated by the Terastallization. I just looked. He has not had his base stat total changed. I am looking right now to see if they gave him an ability change, because the other big part of his usefulness is being immune to Shadow Ball.
Yeah.
So no, they didn't change his abilities or base stat totals, but this is an excellent point of why Terra has changed the game so much. Because now, as a Terra Steel, you resist not only the Fairy, but you also resist your double weakness to Flying, and your weakness to Psychic.
The other thing, if I may interject here, the other reason why Tornadus is not going to be replaced by Whimsicott is that currently at its valued right now on Pokesports Gen 9 calculator, I OHKO Whimsicott with just Bleakwind. So
yeah, it definitely feels like you need Focus Sash to make Whimsicott viable, like it has been in the past. But with these new items, maybe that changes. But yeah, man, he is so frail. Like as of Gen 8.
Yeah, like Air Slash does it. And if I can put other like moves on Tornadus to make it so that's like, even with regardless of item, right? Because for the people, for the viewers at home, and Tyler, I don't know if you heard this yet, but Magic Room is now affected by Prankster. It's no longer -5. It's now +1 under Prankster. And right now, the only one that can use it is Klefki, so that focus sash ain't gonna do nothing if you have Magic Room available. And I've seen it a couple of times on the online ladder, and it's like that's gonna be something that people are gonna start bringing. I think Whimsicott does get Magic Room, and if he does, that's gonna be a huge problem for a lot of people, including
He
myself.
might. Yeah. I bet you could even hit him with like non super effective damage and get consistent KOs. Like I'd pretty confident if I was playing Flutterman that a Dazzling Gleam would get the KO.
Mhm.
Like under choice specs like supervision or whatnot. Like Whimsicott's base stat total that we always like kind of reference is only like 480, and the disparity is definitely in its defenses. Like it's a very frail Pokemon, which with these pranksters, Covert Cloak seems to be and Mental Herb seem to be so valuable. So like losing that for a sash seems very problematic for a Pokemon like that.
Yeah. I know that I run Covert Cloak on Tornadus, and that's because of the fact that I don't really fear taunt as much. What I fear the most is fake out. A lot of people tend to use fake out to take out the prankster. So it's like, all right, well, you could do that. And I don't feel like wasting my Terra on Tornadus to not be affected by taunt. It's very helpful. But the Halloween event when I brought in Dusclops and I did do Terra Dark with him kind of highlighted that fact. It's like, well, I have to pick, do I want to make my Tornadus, who isn't my main attacker, the main focus of trying to protect this effect, when I have Wheezing out there that goes, hey, none of that. Like, unless I have the ability shield, Prankster gets shut off by a third mean, and there's no way that I can stop it.
And honestly, if the other guy's got Wheezing, it's unlikely that you care that your prankster's shut off. It definitely has always felt like you either play the Covert Cloak and like a defensive Terra, or you play the defensive item and you play Ghost Terra. So like you want to make sure you have that fake out answer, and like that would kind of apply to Whimsicott too. You'd like almost want to use a Ghost Terra because you can't use Covert Cloak, but then you're getting hit with all of these other things like Icy Wind and stuff, which I'm also a big believer in Covert Cloak on Tornadus for that not dropping from the opposing Bleak Wind Storm to Icy Wind, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about replacing it. I think that just like we're gonna have some Intimidators that enter in and shake things up. I think Whimsicott's a great example of like shaking up the pranksters because he technically is a little bit faster. So some people will try and leverage that.
He is a little bit faster. He does get taunt, so the base speed values before EVs and IVs and stuff like that is the difference is 5 points between Tornadus and Whimsicott. Looking at Gen 8, because we don't have access to Gen 9 yet.
Yep. So assuming no changes.
Yeah, assuming no changes, Magic Room does not get taught to Whimsicott whatsoever, but he does get Misty Terrain, which is going to prevent all status effects. He also gets Grassy Terrain. We'll get access to like Fake Tears, Helping Wind, Tailwind, or Trick Room, Tailwind, obviously, both screens and Safeguard. He's got access to like a lot of different effects that are going to be very, very useful. Encore is another one. Taunt, like Switcheroo, and also like Worry Seed. Worry Seed was a move that I was going to use for like a while. Mm-hmm. But it also gets access to Grassy Glide too. So like,
I mean, low stats, unfortunately, for that Grassy Glide's offense.
Yeah,
but like, you get the Leaf Storm, which has always been pretty useful on guys like Among Us. These dudes that only want to attack like once or twice.
Yeah. He also has access to Fling. So if you had like a strat to like throw items at yourself or your opponents, that would do a lot of damage. So there's access to stuff at Gen 8. So currently Magic Room can only be learned by Delphox, Gothitelle, and Klefki, and obviously the 3 lake Pokemon. But
hey man, give it a shot. Put it on your channel. Like try and make Magic Room work. I haven't seen it work good one time yet, but I think you could do it.
I've had
Just
it.
like I think Mike could go to Ultra Ball.
I've had it used against me 4 times in the ladder this last season.
Nice.
Each time it shut off my item, and then imagine, right? You're playing Iron Hands, who usually doesn't get access to his ability because no one gives him booster energy. No one puts down, electric field, so no electric surge or anything. So imagine you doing that, playing a 4v4 Pokemon match in VGC, and all you've got is just Pokemon abilities and their natural stats, no items.
Sure. Yeah,
It-
yeah. I know what it does, but
Like-
like I haven't seen it like really clean up.
Like it drastically slowed down my game quite a bit. So
Not having a covert cloak, or did you lose like a choice item that was really critical?
I didn't have access to anything. Remember, Magic Room shuts down all items.
Yeah, I understand, but like
So,
covert
like-
cloak isn't really helping you or hurting you one way or the other
Well,
when the other
I
guy's doing
lost-
magic room strategy.
I lost my effects for Mystic Water. I lost the effects for Leftovers. I lost the effects for my choice specs, along with my Covert Cloak. So
Yeah.
specs was like
Two
really,
pretty
really
heavy
hurt.
items. Yeah.
so, but like I said, like having an effect just like that, and then all of a sudden turning it to go, okay, your Life Orb, or Choice Banded, Pokemon like Arcanine, like hey, you know that Choice Band Pokemon that does a lot of damage? Nah, never mind. Yeah, it just shut it off. Like, nah, you don't have access to your items for 5 turns. Like, Jesus.
It is nice that you could at least switch up the attack when you lose your choice item.
Yeah, which was dope. It was like, oh man, I haven't felt
Yeah.
this in forever.
That's a nice little interplay there. But the taking the turn to set up these tricks, like even taking the turn to set up like the grassy terrain or the psychic terrain, I feel like it puts you at such a back foot.
I don't think so,
I'd like
but
to see you make
but
it
it
work.
does make it convenient if you don't have to do it.
Yeah, it's there's a big reason why the Indides and Rillabooms of the world have been so successful.
You
I'd love to see on the channel the Magic Room teamwork. Love to see it get up there.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it this season, but we'll try. Maybe after Portland Regional. I'm not gonna put time and effort into Klefki if he's just gonna like scrub out on me.
I think you can do it, man.
No.
No, I think you can.
But
I
you
have
did-
faith.
But you did say
Mike
that they
believes in
might bring out the Tapus.
There's a rumor going around that much like the second DLC in Sword and Shield, that the second DLC in Scarlet and Violet's gonna have every legend, which would mean that all of the non-box art kind of legendary Pokemon would be allowed into the regulation, which include the Tapus, which are pretty good. Pretty good. They each have a terrain. Having Iron Hands plus Tapu Koko is very scary.
Oh god, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Coco don't play.
Koko
that'll-
plus Iron Bundle.
Oh no.
There's some rumors. There's some rumors going around. We'll see what happens in about 2 weeks. But by the end of the first day of the DLC, I hope to have the game beat. I'm taking the 2 days after it comes out off, and I'm just gonna bust it out.
I'm probably gonna
So-
do the same, honestly. I'm gonna take like the Friday off, the day out or the day
Good
after.
move.
I think that's what I'm gonna do, just because of the fact that 1, I need to have the DLC done. 2, I think people will want to see like a let's play of it, and 3, I need to know what's gonna be viable for Regulation F, which is literally it's gonna happen like the day before the tournament, right?
So the announcement is on Christmas. So you'll actually have closer to 2.5 weeks, which is twice as long as I had.
No,
Or,
when I'm asking,
back.
like, Regulation F doesn't take part until the 1st, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's correct.
And on paper, it's 2.5 weeks, but when you have to work during that interim, it's not 2.5 weeks. It's much, much sooner than that. Because I mean,
Yeah, I had
I
to
work
work,
swing
a
shift,
week
and
of
I
Sac.
and I'm doing like a lot of overtime. So like,
No, for sure. But it's still you have the knowledge of it. It's on paper. It's 3 days, but you're gonna have the knowledge of what's allowed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is better than what we had for Sacramento and definitely what the better than what the Illinois guys had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When is the
but
Portland Regional?
it's the 6th. So it's
Of
it's 5
January?
days.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 5 days after the ladder allows you to play Regulation F.
Yeah.
I think I'll be at the convention center the weekend after that for Fan Expo.
Ooh.
That's cool.
I think. I don't know. Either that, which I think it's the 12th through the whatever. So I'll have to check. I'll have to check. Fight.
All right. I'm gonna hope to have my niece and my nephew come down for the regional.
That'd be great.
My niece is really into Pokemon. She's got some cards, so I'm hoping that if she comes down and see all the people that are down there to play, I'm gonna tell her, it's like, now these people are competing, so you can't just walk up to someone and talk to them right in the middle of a game. So please, keep that in mind. And like try to make sure that she stays in like the general area. Like my sister's gonna be there, so she's not gonna be by herself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. Neither will my nephew, but she's really into Pokemon. So it's like I showed her some of my Pokemon cards, and it's like, hey, do you want to go to this thing with me? And she's like, oh yes, I do. And she was super excited about it. So I'm hoping that they'll have a good time when they come down.
I would laugh. She said, "Hell no!
It's fine. I don't care. Either way,
I
I
don't
just
go with you to no Pokemon. I'll go by myself. I'll be the champion."
But I think that it would be kind of cool if she got into playing Pokemon. I don't know if they have any card shops down there that for her to play, but if I can introduce her to like Pokemon TCG Live, then she could play and have fun and do all sorts of stuff. So
Yes, she could.
all right, so it looks like Tyler bounced again. Sorry, Tyler,
A
we
while
kept
ago.
yeah.
A while ago.
When I have the OBS thing up, it has the streamer mode, so I don't see when people come in and out. So I do apologize, Tyler. I didn't notice, but
Thanks for coming out, though.
yeah, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the end of the podcast, and since we have our official Schiller back with us, let's go ahead and exit. Go ahead, Mike.
My peasants, you mean so much to me. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, not only to get more of this thrilling podcast action, but also to watch Matt on his journey to VGC. If you like the podcast, please make sure that you click the little thumbs up button. If you don't like the podcast, go ahead and click the little thumbs down button. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your favorite part of the podcast is. Send us some fan mail. Suggest a spotlight Pokemon. If there's any businesses out there listening, give us your money. We'll take it. We'll take your money. Then I can start writing ad copy for you. Great. But yeah, it's just, thanks for coming along on this journey. And remember, as always, stay humble, my friends. Stay humble.
Have a good one, guys. See you next week.